huddle up, huddle up. We're gonna crank these engines up on one. All right? Wait, 80. Wait, 80, set. Drivers, start your engines.
This is the finish line.
I coached some great offensive linemen in the past. Larry Little, Dwight Stevenson, Jim Langer, all Hall of Famers, and Richmond Webb belongs to that same group.
Here are your hosts, legendary Miami Dolphins left tackle Richmond Webb, Reason, and Mr. BallGame.
What is good, Fin Nation? What's good? It's your boy Reason, and we are back here for another episode of The Finish Line. As always, I'm joined by the legendary Richmond Webb and the Triple OG Mr. BallGame. I wanted to start this off, and everyone in the chat, because we got the emoji, if you're watching live right now, I mean, if you're listening to this on Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, iHeartRadio, wherever, just yell it then. I need everyone to spam the chat with Richmond Webb and his emoji I have of him in that nice, beautiful gold Hall of Fame jacket, because, guys, this is the year. How convinced am I that this is going to be the year? I have talked to my let's call this merchandise man, and we are going to be hitting the streets with hats, t-shirts, and hoodies of Richmond Webb for Hall of Fame 2023. We're going to make a campaign out of this, and we're going to do it every year. We're going to update this until he gets in. But in the next few weeks, we are launching the merch for all of y'all to go out there and rock. It needs to happen this year, Richmond. This is the year we are going to get you on the map, because I know you'd never say anything about a fly, let alone hurt one, but Baselli ain't supposed to be in there before you, bro. Let's all stop lying to ourselves right now, okay? I don't care what anyone says, all right? Baselli ain't supposed to be in there before you. That's just a downright lie, man, all right? So, anyways, that said, gentlemen, it's not only Victory Monday, it's kind of Victory Lap Monday for all those who keep telling y'all, man, if you just watch the film, if he cleans a few things up, this kid in this offense, it's going to be next level. It's going to be next level. There's potential here. Oh, blah, 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 you know, and now it's Victory Lap Monday for all of us who believed in Tua, and I'm joined by both of you who were right there with me, whether we're on the finish line or finside the NFL. We supported that kid full way, and it kind of feels like vindication, doesn't it, gentlemen? Like, this man goes out and puts up the fourth most passing yards in Miami Dolphins single game history. Top three, obviously, Marino. And then he ties Greasy and Marino for the most touchdown passes in a single season game for the Dolphins. How you feeling, gentlemen? I mean, I know everyone else is happy because the watch Mister's like, let's go, Mr. Webb, absolute idol. How are y'all feeling on this beautiful Wednesday?
Yeah. Good morning, gentlemen. Y'all looking mighty. I mean, good evening. I'm tripping. Don't even worry about it. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm doing good. Y'all looking mighty handsome. I appreciate that, Reason. I was on Twitter watching TV, and then I started getting congrats. I didn't even know the list that came out. And so I saw so many people was, mentioning and showing me love. I said, man, let me go on and just send everybody a thank you, because I definitely appreciate it, when people make mention of it and take time out to congratulate you on something like that. So definitely did that, and been interacting all day with on Twitter about it. So definitely honored, definitely grateful for, even being on that list with the guys that's on there. So that's an accomplishment within itself. But 2-0, the first half started out a little rough, and then we got going, but it just And I think we've all talked about it, but this is what we knew this offense is capable of. And I think there are going to be times our defense struggle and stuff like that. But I would say probably the last 2 years before this, if we got behind like we did, majority of the time, our offense wasn't built or designed to come from behind like that. So to see that, and then to see the even on the sidelines, I never saw anybody like frustrated or it was like everybody kind of stayed calm, and it seemed like they're feeding off the energy of the head coach, because I remember he just kept looking at his plays, calling them, and he never looked like he was like, even though we were down, he was on point, and I think the team feeds off of that. And
because he said at halftime they all had their like heads down, they all seemed down. He told them, listen, not going to get any worse. Only way is up from here. Like, let's find something positive out of this game. We still have a second half. And look at how they responded to him. Flores would have benched Tua, and then the whole locker room just would have had their head down thinking, we ain't winning with Teddy. This ain't happening. It's over.
Yeah. And, you're right. Throwing 2 picks, like I said, it started out rough, and then we finally got going, and it seemed like we would gain a little traction, and then Baltimore would hit a big play. But it was
Can I say this though? Like,
you can say whatever you want to.
I broke down the film yesterday on Inside the NFL with Martin. You know the homie Martin, right?
Yep.
And Tua actually you could see the light was going on in the first half. He was making some good throws. The problem is that second throw. We all knew how bad of a decision it was in the bracketed coverage. The first one, he was just a hair late. It was a good throw. He drove behind it. He was just a touch late on the read. That's it. The ball was coming out when Tyreek was turning him, when it should have been up like 3/4 of the way the stem of the route. The ball should have been out. So when he turns, the ball's there. And if he would have had that timing, boom, that would have been a first down. So, like, the film really showed that the light was starting to go on, so I just wanted to add, because I know you were talking about the first half and stuff. Like, I was much more impressed when I watched the film of those first half.
Oh, and you can see the confidence that young man exudes. He understands this offense, and you never saw him, like, a lot of time when you're having a bad game, normally one of your teammates will say, hey man, come on, he never showed that. And so, when you say, okay, I make these mistakes, and he got a little gunslinger in him. I mean, I've seen him the last 3 years.
That throw to Gesicki?
Yeah, he fits some balls in some tight windows. So, I mean, he ain't scared at all. So it's like, I think we got our guy. I mean, we've all three said it, but before I go too long, I'm going to turn it over to my homie, Mr. BallGame, and let him jump on the mic. How you doing, Mr. BallGame?
I'm good. My throat was pretty raw on Sunday, going back and forth yelling each time we scored a touchdown. But for the most part, I had us predicted to win. I always believe that this team, in order to officially consider yourself one of the elite teams in the AFC, you got to go into the house of the people that traditionally drug you. Right? And it's been a long time since we'd actually ever won in Baltimore, and punch them in the mouth, go into the refrigerator and take out what you want and do what you will with the women and the children. You know what I'm saying?
In your mama's robe and in her slippers, right?
Yeah. And the first half, I told my sons at the end of the first half, I said, I think this is exactly what they needed in terms of adversity, getting punched in the face. Yeah. Now they can wake up a bit and we can see really what's going on. And my boys was like, Dad, but this is Lamar, though. I say, no. I said, it's Lamar against our defense. So our defense, they either going to let them hang or not. Right? I felt very much the same way McDaniels felt. It couldn't get any worse. Yeah. So just go out there and just play ball now. You feel me? And they did that. And to say I was surprised, I really wasn't. Like, we've been talking about this kid for the longest time now, and I'm just really glad
footwork
that
BallGame.
Yeah, I saw the 22. I saw the 22, bro. It was impeccable.
Yeah, I sent it to you. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's impeccable, man. For anyone out here, I'm gonna just say this, and I'm gonna leave it alone. For anyone that's out here that's ever played the game of football and you've ever had a substantial injury, you completely understand what it's like to have to work to get yourself back to feeling like yourself. Most people don't understand that, so they're highly critical, and they've been highly critical of this kid. But to know is to know, and not know, and then still say a whole bunch of crazy stuff just makes you foolish. And I think it's time for people to really start paying attention to the brilliance that they've got that they're orchestrating down here in Miami, man. Tyreek said what he said. He go out every week and he proved that no one can cover him. And with a quarterback that's willing to just stand back there, finesse the pocket, and just unleash that thing, man, it's gonna be a problem. Like I have said it all along. I don't know how anybody's gonna ever be able to defend this. But yeah, I'm obviously I'm 100% satisfied with what we did on Sunday. I don't even care about the picks. The win, the W's is all I really care about. But for him to be able to go out there and basically do this and give that to a whole bunch of people and say, you know what, sit on it and spin for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. If he won't say it, I will, because he worked his ass to get back here, and I'm glad now we're gonna be a part of this ride to watch him continue to mature and become the guy that we all felt he could be. So
I'm gonna be honest, because I know I put my neck out there early on when we got McDaniel saying I think we could shock and awe teams out of the gate and catch them by surprise by putting a lot of points up on them. And then when BallGame made his point about, he expected the O-line not to get it together till week 6, I was like, oh, you know what? Privately, I was like, I didn't tell anyone this. I was like, you know what? Man, I hope that ain't the case. And then after week 1, I was like, oh man, the run game, not so much the O-line, but the run game, I was like, yeah. I was like, the run game, I feel like the run game was after week 1. I was like, man. And that's why I was like, Mostert needs to lead this backfield. And it felt this weekend like the gears are starting to get going, because that run game needs to click against Josh Allen to keep him off the field, and we'll get into all of that. But dude, the pass pro was, other than beautiful. Eichenberg,
just that functional strength, man. That's really, and him. I think he was a little too aggressive in trying to initiate the contact, and he overextended him. Yeah, he overextended himself. But that's the anxiousness, I think, of him not wanting to.
It's all technique with him. He had bad hands too. Yeah. He was. We'll get into all that. Let's start off with the Ravens game. I want you guys' thoughts. Obviously, big fourth quarter, absolutely massive fourth quarter. We outscored them 28-3 in the fourth quarter for the 42-38 win. When I broke down the all 22, the one throw that just drops your jaw is the end zone view of that Gesicki throw, because there's a couple things on it, and you saw it throughout the game. Like, if you look at it, right, if you go back and watch the play, we schemed him open. The man on the boundary, I believe it's Cedric. He takes 2 men with the curl. Then I forget who it was. Someone else's. It's Tyreek. Tyreek takes a bracket right at the goal line, and then literally you see it's a deep ass dig. It's a deep dig, and he just right behind the bracketed coverage at the goal line. Gesicki schemes, like, everyone bit how they wanted to them, how they designed the play. And then when you look, that's like a 35-yard dot to the back of the end zone where there ain't much room in the end zone. Like, people need to realize how tough of a throw that is. That is a franchise quarterback throw. That is an elite throw. And another thing, and I'll post it to Twitter tomorrow because I was just lazy today because, well, my wife's leaving for 5 days, so I've been hanging out with the family today. So I'll do it tomorrow morning on Twitter. But everyone talking about this busted coverage, specifically the one play where with Kyle Hamilton out there. Listen, that's again Kyle Hamilton. You look at his hips, you look at his eyes. He bit on the deep dig from Waddle because Waddle was getting fed, and that is what left Tyreek one-on-one to blow by, and that's what caused the slow reaction. Again, that is game flow and play design set him up in a one-on-one matchup that he took. Kyle Hamilton played right into their hands. If you actually watch the game flow and look at that play design, they baited him, man, and they made him pay. And so these people out here, I'm telling you, not only do we have Tua taking that next step, I think Coach McDaniel has put to doubt any he's put to rest any doubt all y'all had about him as a play caller. And I mean, Richmond BallGame, you know how mad I was getting when people were comparing him to like Gase and Cam Cameron and Philbin and how lazy I thought it was. And you see this guy after 2 games, and it feels like he's going to be here for years. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't know whether it's subconsciously because of Don Shula and me seeing him grow old rocking the Aviators. Then I watch McDaniel rocking the Aviators, and all of a sudden it just puts it together. But listen, I had a conversation with someone today about this, and you know, McVay, he'll leave the Rams on his own terms. Shanahan, he'll leave the 49ers on their own on his own terms because of what they've already accomplished early on, right? And you know, right. Shanahan and McVay are going to continue to add to those accomplishments. I feel like McDaniel's going to be the same thing. It's going to be one of those things where unless he wants to leave and he's done enough here, like Sean Payton, done it all, nothing more left for me to do here, I'm out. You know what I mean? I feel like that's what Mike McDaniel is going to turn into. I think we got our guy. I think this is the best coaching hire since Don Shula. And everyone knows I'm a huge Tony Sparano fan. And I would have ran through a wall for Dan Campbell. But this guy is just already and I'm not even talking about just play calling, the play design and our offense. And I feel, boys, like this running game is right around the corner. And when that running game gets going, if you think you can't stop us now, what's going to happen when it happens? But your guys' thoughts on the game, and guys, third down. Do we got the best third down quarterback in the NFL right now? Do we?
Well, I think across the board, man. For me, one, I'll start with McDaniels. You rarely see rookie head coaches with this much moxie and grit, and will to just say, you know what, my guys are better than yours, so I'm not going to take them off the field. We can get this. That in itself is confidence that this team also needed. So if the coach is confident in them, you got to know right off the bat it's a trickle down effect to these guys going out there and laying it all out on the line for him as well. And I think that's what we saw on Sunday, especially when you say he went into the locker room and had a conversation with them. They got up to go back out there and fight because he wasn't ready to throw in the towel. And that in itself can be exactly what this team needs over the first couple of weeks to continue to define who they are as a team and find their identity, because it's the same process every year for them. The pass pro from the offensive line was much improved, and he had so much time back there. I think the Ravens were actually trying to figure out, like, what the hell? This is not what we saw. This was not what we saw on film. You know what I mean? But that's the group believing in each other. You know what I mean? And if you can get all 53 believing in the same concept, believing in the same thing, that we can go out and we can compete with anyone on any given Sunday, that makes you a dangerous team, just because of the fact that they got punched in the mouth early with the kickoff return, but then they came back, drove down. Obviously, he had the hiccup, but then, you go back and you tied up 7-7. Lamar is going to be Lamar, right? He's an exceptional athlete. Their offense is built completely around him. And some things that, no matter how defensively well you do at scheming up, the guy going to get loose at some point. And the run that he had, even when they went up and they took, when they took that long run.
On the zero?
Yeah. I said to my oldest son then, I was like, that'll be the last one he get, bro. They're not going to give him anything else. They're going to fix it. And he was like, but Dad, this Lamar, and, we still ain't figured out how to start. I said, just watch.
To be honest, even until we started getting back in that game, and you could tell the defense was rallying behind the offense a little bit. Until we started collapsing the pocket, he was having one of his best games as a passer again. The guy had a perfect passer rating against us. That was one of the best passing performances, probably the best passing performance I've seen of his career, man. I
think what I saw firsthand was I saw Xavier Howard
groin injury.
But for the first time, I saw him really not take a guy serious. And then when Bateman showed him that he could get out on him, that changed the landscape for him. So you started watching him play off a little bit. You started watching him bait. You started watching him watch to see what Lamar was actually going to do. And he almost took that one. He threw it to the pick six. That play in itself ignited those boys in at that point too, because then they was like, you know what, nothing else for these guys, nothing else, and then the game in that point changes because then Baltimore wanted to go back to trying to run the ball, whether it was 2 yards here, a yard here, or you got a long third down now. Okay, we can change up some things. You really got to show us you can get this ball out to these guys in these spaces now. And when they got them off the field, when you started getting them punting, and, and then they went for it on that fourth down, trying to, close out the game, on the 4th and 1 or 4th and inches or what it was. When we stopped them, and Wilkins knocked the ball loose and they picked it up and then we turned it over. And that's when I told my son, I said, the rally's on right here. It's going to be a wrap. They ain't going to be able to recover from this because that was sure points on the board for them that they left out there on the field. And now at that point, the momentum had completely swung and people were looking. You can feel it. I felt it because I've been in those type of games before. I've coached those games before where it's one play that all the defense got to do is just stand up for one play.
Yeah.
And get the ball back to the offense, and the offense was ready, and they took off. And then after that point, they couldn't recover. So it was beautiful. And then I was watching McDaniels on the sideline, right? He's standing over there with his, he was standing over there with his call sheet, but he was looking around at everybody, smiling and stuff like I knew we could do this. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's keep going. That type of thing. So I was like, he in his element now, man, and this team believes. So
let's talk about this, Richmond. BallGame brought it up. We've slightly talked about it. Okay, the O-line. For context, last year when we played them, we allowed 24 pressures. This year we only allowed 9, and it was 8 hurries and 1 sack, no QB hits. And the sack was on that Durham Smythe whiff to the left side on Justin Houston sack. That wasn't even on a lineman. All right. So, and we still there's a few hiccups with Connor Williams fan blocking and helping out Robert Hunt when clearly Eichenberg needed help against guys like Calais Campbell, and Eichenberg struggled with his hand placement, and he wasn't that great, but still that O-line in pass pro was one of probably the best efforts since the Unicorns were around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and we talked about Tua's footwork earlier. You saw him weaving and maneuvering through the pocket on different plays. He was being creative and improvising. And for the first time, Richmond, it looked like he trusted the protection in front of him, and his footwork played off his comfortability to that protection. And that we got that Tua that everyone saw in the second half against Kansas City, that we saw in the fourth quarter against Atlanta, that we saw against Arizona in year 1, paled in comparison to the Tua we saw in the second half on Sunday. Well, what were your thoughts about the O-line specifically?
Yeah, it was one of the best games I've seen in a while. When you watch the offensive line and they ran some stunts, ET, stuff like that, and they were able to pass off, the stunts and still give Tua time. It was a huge difference looking at the offensive line this early in the season compared to looking at them last year early in the season. And like you said, at time Eichenberg struggled, but I look at it and say, okay, he hadn't really played offensive guard. He was a tackle pretty much throughout his year. So normally going from tackle to guard, you're normally a bulkier, bigger guy, kind of short, stocky, to be able to take on those big 3 techniques or whatever like that. So he's got some adjustments to make. And then also Connor Williams played guard. He's playing center now. So you got a couple guys that's only had a few games at new positions. But overall, I was highly impressed with the way they protected the quarterback. And to allude to what both of you guys said, I think the team knew they were good, but sometimes mentally it has a click up here. I think on paper, everybody knew we had. I think, with Tyreek coming over, this and that, but everything has to come together and everything has to work. And for, Coach McDaniel to go in at halftime and say, hey, it can't get no worse than this, can't mess it up no more. And then they finally, gather themselves, get together. And then once they got rolling, even though we were behind, they showed no will of, man, we're not going to win this football game. They didn't look like they were playing from desperation. They were confident throughout, and it's going to only get better as they continue to play together week to week in. Like you said, we still got things to clean up, but it was, for offense to go put up 42 points on the road after the way we played the first half, man, I think everybody's excited because, it was a hell of a game.
Does Austin Jackson get his job back from Greg Little?
Man, Greg Little looking good, bro.
Nope, he gonna take Leon Eichenberg's spot.
That's what I think. That's what I
think. That's what it is. Okay.
Move him next to Armstead. Him and Armstead. Austin Jackson next to Armstead. I like that more than Eichenberg for sure. That could complete this line, really, if you think about it.
Little looked really good at that right tackle position. I watched him. I was like,
on that Edmonds run, that block, huge.
Yeah.
All right. Simple question. Did the game slow down and did it look like the light went on for Tua in the second half?
Indeed. It was like he was basically throwing apples into a wide open tub. You know what I'm saying? With no issues. Like he was at the fair, he just picking up. Yeah, I got you. Oh, okay. Yeah. So you doing that over there? Oh, I still got a guy right here. Oh, you doubled him? Well, forgot about this one. Got you. You know what I mean? Yeah.
So I got a question for you guys out because you guys know another thing that bugged the hell out of me was when I on my channel or us on this podcast would provide context in terms of the offensive line, the weaponry around him, the coaching staff personnel around him. And people tried to label those contextual points as excuses. How do they look like right now? Huh? Context matters, huh? I'm just saying.
But here's the problem, though. I'm sorry, Richard. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. Come on, BallGame.
The problem for me is that when you look at the teams that all these other guys that they're comparing him to have, no one discounts the fact that they have superstars and you know what I'm saying, great players around those guys.
Dude, the Chargers had 7 players in the top 100.
Exactly, that's my point. And then we go out and we just go and grab some guys that we know can play legitimate football and that are great at their position, and now all of a sudden that's some excuses now. But Herbert walked into a perfect situation. They went and got Joe Burrow everything he wanted. They emptied the bank for him. So like why shouldn't we go and be able to do the same thing for Tua? Like if you really want to make the comparisons, okay, now he has what he needs. Now y'all can start this comparison foolishness. And now let's see what they look at. Let's see what it looks like right now.
Yeah.
They do this.
Burrow don't look anything remotely close to the guy that they were talking about in Raven, you know what I mean, and all this other foolishness. And Herbert, he over there with the hurt. Oh, but he got hurt ribs. You know what I'm saying? As a quarterback now, but when Tua got hurt, right? He tried to go back in the game, and Flores wouldn't let him go back in, and then they called him soft. Like, come on, man, knock it off, man. I hate how they run with these narratives, bro, and all this other foolishness. Josh Allen goes and misses a wide receiver wide open, right? Guy on a bootleg, you know what I'm saying, reverse bootleg to the left, missed the guy. All it was a touch throw. You're talking about an all-pro quarterback. He missed him. And he was like, oh, well, you know, that's just a bad play call. No, but if it had been Tua, it would have been something completely blown out of proportion. Oh, he just can't make that throw. Oh, he's still having problems with this, that, and the other. I don't understand why all this foolishness come from, man. And these are guys that legitimately, most of this stuff is coming from places. These guys getting paid money to go out and talk on a national stage and looking like idiots now. And even though they're wrong, they still won't admit that they're wrong.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, that's my thing, BallGame, is there's no accountability right now. People are trying to either backpedal or they're saying, oh, well, you know, I was hard on him because this is what I wanted, you know, and people who have been on record as saying they do not believe on him. Hell, there's people who were on record, whether on Twitter or YouTube, saying they didn't believe in Tua wasn't the guy after the first half.
Yeah.
All right. So like that's the thing. Like there's people who can't flat out admit they were wrong. All right. Because the people who watched the film said, hey, if he cleans this up, the consistently reading all 3 levels, the pre-snap reads, if he cleans up the bad decisions and forcing it and playing hero ball, you're going to have something great in this offense. And guess what? And you know, and all respect to the people who went on Twitter and YouTube and said, I was wrong. Let me take my L. All right. Because guess what? At the end of the day, an above average quarterback in the NFL ain't going to do what Tua just did. You got to be way better than above average to do what Tua just did. That's just fact. I don't know what else to tell you. So my thing is, listen, if you are wrong, That's not the issue. It's all these people in the media and the Dolphin fan base that aren't taking accountability. For being wrong. That's where I'm at, man. That's where I'm at.
They're not gonna do it. Yeah,
some of them because y'all were feeding us every week.
Dragging them then.
Y'all were coming after us every week for believing in this kid that if he cleaned all this stuff up, y'all got something real special here. Y'all kept saying, "Oh, don't see it. No way, no way. He's trash. He's trash. Your opinion's trash." Every week we had to listen to that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, go ahead, Richmond. What are your thoughts on did the light go on? And let's go off of what BallGame said. What do you have to say about some of the media members saying, "Oh, it's a Ravens collapse. It's not an epic comeback from Tua." When if it was Herbert, Mahomes, or Burrow that did it, it would have been, "Oh, it's because they're great." You know what I mean?
That's the narrative out there, and one thing I always say: the film don't lie, and you can call it whatever you want to. You can say Baltimore collapse, whatever. Well, they did, but it was a reason they did, and it was because the Dolphins were executing. If you get out executed, no matter however you want to, you can word it, no matter however you want to word it. But at the end of the day, we got that dub, and that's what's important. And a lot of people look for ways to say it without giving Tua credit or whatever, and this and say, hey, I could, even if they didn't give him credit, and say, hey, it seems like this guy is improving a little bit every year, or he's really getting off to it. They won't even give that credit. And I think I was on Twitter, and somebody posted a video from Colin Cowherd or whatever, and I was like, I don't know what it is with him, but
he was trying to say he overthrew Gesicki in the back of the end zone because he doesn't understand the throw. He doesn't understand the throw. It's ridiculous.
I'm 100% convinced Tua spurned his daughter.
Man, it's something, man. I'm telling you, it's bad, man. I'm telling you, it's just like it shouldn't be that obvious. I mean, some of the arguments he makes sometimes, you'd be like, you really reaching. Yeah. So
what does this kid do to you that makes you feel like you need to get out here and spew all this foolishness about him? You are legitimately willing to stand and die on that hill by yourself as this kid is making a fool out of you. Now, week to week, he's going to do this. I believe he is going to do this. There may be some hiccups, but by the end of the season, you will not be able to drag Tua Tagovailoa's name through the mud anymore. And then what do you have? It's not worth it. Hey, shout out to Ryan Clark, though, because Ryan Clark called them all out.
Yeah.
Every opportunity. Yeah.
When they made the deal about the height thing, he basically said, "You're stupid if you believe that." He basically said, "You don't know football if that's what your issue is." Like,
there it is.
Which it shouldn't even have been a narrative because, like, it just shouldn't have, because that's like fundamental stuff you learn 101. Like, I don't know how we're even talking about that. So anyways. All right, let me ask you this, BallGame.
Yes, sir.
With Allen and Burrow on deck, all right, and those two offenses, should we be worried about how Lamar looked for the first 3 and a bit quarters?
I think it's a concern. I mean, every week to week, you prepare for whoever's coming up, but there's always concern because things could get out of hand relatively quickly. But I think this week in particular, this game meant a little differently because that drugging that they gave us 2 years ago, and then we kind of gave it back to them. This thing was personal, and the fact that we was able to go on the road and get a victory, that made it even more sweet for this team in particular. The Bills thing is very similar. They've been whooping on us now for 8 or 9 games, right? Almost 4 or 5 seasons now. So it concerns me, but it's another one of those situations where they really just got to stand up, man, and let them hang, bro. Like, at this point, you're either going to continue to be bullied or you're going to become the bully. And in football, there's no middle ground. You either take it to them or they're going to take it to you. And I believe
Jonathan Martin.
Yeah, after this, coming off of this Ravens win, man, I think this was exactly what this team needs to officially say to themselves when they look left and look right at each other. Enough's enough. He breathed just like us. He put his shoes on just like us. They're no better than us. We fixated on them for too long. Let's get them out of our heads and go ahead and put these hands on them. And that's what I believe I believe that's what's going to happen Sunday. in my opinion. I think that Buffalo has its own. It's Allen, bro. It's Allen to Diggs. Nothing else about them scares me. But the problem is that no one else, no one really has had the secondary or the athletes to match up well enough to be able to neutralize.
So are you worried about? We saw what AB did to X last year when he was nagging groin injury. Now he's got a nagging groin. That's what I was told on the weekend, and then the report came out today. Are you? He already can't keep up with Diggs. He's not that type of athlete. Right. Are you even more worried right now?
No, because we got a guy. We got a superior athlete on the perch. And Holland, who can stay over the top and neutralize pretty much anything he can do for us. I mean, listen, as long as we make the game long, 20-20.
Would you put Crossan on him because he's the better athlete?
I would. I put Crossan on him because he can run with him, stride for stride, speed for speed. And Crossan's actually probably more athletic than he is. So, yes, I swap him up. I'd give X the other side. Not Gabriel Davis, though. Now, what up? Is it Gabriel Davis?
Isn't Gabe Davis is out, isn't he?
Oh, he's out. Oh, well then, yeah, definitely swap X to the opposite side, whoever that is. It ain't gonna matter, and give Crossan the help with Diggs as needed, and then just neutralize their run. I mean, you got to think, right? Aside from that run that Lamar got, when you look at the stats, we really only gave up like 46 yards rushing. You see what I'm saying? The run defense was actually there. When you go back and look at the actual stat lines, we actually did a hell of a damn job on stopping the run. So make Josh Allen beat you, right? If Tindall's coming back, or they put somebody in play to be able to stay on the edges to ensure that he doesn't slip out and get all that other extra yardage that he gets to keep plays going, then he becomes just like Lamar. I don't believe athletically he's better than Lamar.
So are you doing the same thing with Lamar in terms of level rushing to keep him in front?
Yes. And we call it butt deep, right? I mean, in the coaching world, we call that, we tell the defensive ends go butt deep, right? So you only go in as deep as the butt of the guy that you're defending. I mean that you pushing against, and you keeping yourself outside so that they can't get outside of you, so you can break free to get there if you need to. And make Josh Allen prove he's the passer everybody believes him to be. Because as far as I've seen over the history of this thing, Josh Allen doing a whole bunch of throwing to wide open dudes. Now, I haven't seen a lot of intricate, tight window throws from him. I've seen a whole bunch of, like on Sunday, him throwing to Diggs for that deep bomb that he threw. The double move, that was a blown coverage, but nobody saying nothing about that either. The safety clearly misread it, and because the corner had outside leverage, Josh widened him out even more and then went back inside him. The guy was hoping that there was somebody in the middle third, and the guy was not there to be seen. So that's a blown coverage, but ain't nobody talking about that either. So for me, each one has their, Burrow's not as mobile as either of the two, Lamar and Allen, but I think you attack them all the same, bro. You just keep everything in front of you, and you make them make the reads. And then, as long as you don't give up the long ball, you're good.
Yeah.
So
I got to ask you this: from what you've seen, if we get similar effort and production in pass pro, Richmond, are Tua Tagovailoa in this offense capable of keeping up with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills?
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to. Buffalo is capable of putting up points, and we definitely got to be able to put up points to match that. So the more efficient we are offensively, like you said, we need to be able to run the football, this and that, to limit the amount.
That's the best defense for Josh Allen. Keep him off the field with the run game.
And limit opportunities. And like you say, play the matchup games like BallGame was just talking about. I think that's the best thing. But the key thing is containing Josh Allen. Not so much him throwing down the field, but it's when he can break outside the pocket and run and get those first downs or get those big plays, using his leg. I mean, he's a hell of a player, but this is what we got to deal with. I mean, I've always said right now, Buffalo is a team you got to go through. If you want to win the division, Buffalo is that team right now. But from what I've seen so far, I think we're going to match up pretty well with them. I'm not going to say it's going to be an easy game, but I definitely like what I saw as we continue to get into this season that, I think we're going to be all right. And I think we're going to be competitive as long as we don't have a bunch of freak injuries or anything like that. I think we're going to be able to compete with them.
And especially if that defense gives us that effort they gave us in the first half last year before it got a little in that second game, ball game. No Tre'Davious White right now. All right. On top of that, Micah Hyde did not practice today.
Yep.
Dane Jackson is also out.
Yep.
Jordan Phillips did not practice today for them.
Yep.
Now Jordan Phillips and Von Miller, if they go, are obviously what's scary. You know, when you look at those potential losses of, well, we know Tre'Davious is out, but Micah Hyde, no Dane Jackson, potentially Jordan Phillips being out as well. Listen, I know they've got some talent in their front seven. Greg Russo's actually having a good year. Matt Milano and Tremaine Edmonds at the second level are really good. And they'll still have Jordan Poyer, but Teron Johnson, Sam Lewis, you know, like Christian Benford, you know, Carey Lim, like I'm gonna tell you this right now. Is this the most exposed that secondary has been, and especially against an offense? Do you believe that with how exposed that secondary is and with the talent we have on this offense, you know, are Tua and the Dolphins offense capable of keeping up with Josh Allen in that offense?
I do believe in every form and fashion, every word associated with what you just said. Yes. I think they have every piece. We have every piece on this team to be able to give them all the fits they can handle and drive them completely batshit crazy, bro. Like the weirdest thing for me is that, like, when you really feeling yourself and you really feel like somebody just really don't have an answer for you, you say it. And Tyreek came out and said out of his own mouth, they don't have anybody over there that can guard me. I've proven that time and time again, and I've been added to this process with Waddle, and they can't stop us. There's nothing they have for us. We just got to go out and do what we got to do, and we can win. Because I've proven by myself, even just me, they can stop me. What are they going to do with both of us? And all these injuries they got, we're catching them at the right time. It's unfortunate for them because people are going to use that as an excuse too. But, hey, you got 53 and a 16-man. You and your practice squad for a reason. So shut up and get out there and play. And I believe that we're going to punch him in the mouth. And they're going to catch hell just like everybody else going, because it's hard, bro. I'm telling you. I done sat up, my sons and I, on the whiteboard many nights trying to figure out how do you stop this offense. The defense has got to do what they do. Get the ball back a couple times, get a couple stops here and there, make them punt. As long as when we get the ball back, put points on the board consistently, which I believe this offense is capable of doing. McDaniels has proven that he's going to take the shots if he have to, and he ain't going to want to come off fourth down. If it's short enough that he believes he can get it, he's going to take that as well. That in itself, that's a problem when you think about it, because most teams play for 3 downs. They plan to have you off the field. With this team, you got to plan for 4 downs every series.
And you see the wrinkles he added this week compared to week 1. He's already started to add wrinkles into things. Okay, it wasn't just Josh Allen. We would all agree, too, during the Flores years that McDermott and his staff were out coaching our staff as well. Do you think this is the best between coaching staff and on-field personnel? This is the best team we've compiled to go against a Sean McDermott-led Bills since he took over the team?
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember Duper and Clayton.
Yep.
I'm old enough to remember that. And it's been a long time since I can ever think to myself, to remember back to a team that we put on the field that was anything remotely close to those guys with Marino. And this is it. And I believe that this group is even more dynamic than them in terms of their athletic ability. So coaching, you know what coaching does? Coaching refines the mistakes and helps guys, you know, take their game essentially to an elite level all across the board. And the fact that it's evident, bro. There's no way you can go from the pass pro that we saw previously to what we've seen here last week alone and tell me that the coaching ain't working.
Yeah.
They're buying in, bro. They're buying in.
Line,
And, you know, it's just going to get better. And for me, when you got superior, you know, you got top-notch athletes at the right spots, and you got a quarterback that is cerebral and is willing to just go and just dice you like Tua is. It's hard, man. It's hard for any defense to be able to get out there and truly slow this thing down. The only thing can stop them is themselves. Drop balls and crucial situations. Now there was a lot of drops on Sunday too, which his numbers could have probably even been more inflated. But the fact of the matter is that they're human, so you're gonna have some drops. But I don't know, man. I don't see anybody really. I don't know any team right now that's equipped to be able to deal with this team, this offense anyway, at full strength.
Richmond, do you think this is the best Dolphins team you've seen compiled from the sideline to the players on field to take on a Sean McDermott led Bills?
Yeah, I the thing that I really noticed about this coaching staff is the assistant coaches that he brought in. Some of them were veteran coaches. I thought we had a really young staff under Flores, but I think when you start to see players develop or being developed to where they might have struggled early on, but now they get in this system, and you start to see progress and this and that. That's when you truly got good coaches at different key positions. We see it in the offensive line. We see it in the tight end position. Even the receivers. I mean, I know we got Tyreek. He's a veteran, Waddle, but when you start seeing all that come together, defensively, we were pretty much set. So, but to get what he had in his head, Coach McDermott had in his head and said, this is what we need to do to accomplish, get that, and then get the coaches that understand what your vision is to communicate it to the players and to fix and tweak little things so players can become the best they can be. And even Tua, I mean, from him to get that understanding, I still go back to the first day he got the job and they showed a deal where he said, I expect great things out of you, but you're going to have to work. And I think that's not only with Tua, that's with every guy on this team. If you can be great, but you're going to have to work, and you see the guys putting in the work and you're starting to see the results that they're getting at different positions. And I mean, as much as we were frustrated with the offensive line, for this to be week 2 and them to come out on the road, because, I mean, even at home last year, Tua was getting blew up. But for them to come out and put together a pass protection like they did in a tough environment, and Baltimore is known as being a black and blue team, physical, hit you in the mouth, this and that, to go up there and perform like that and execute and give Tua the time that he needed to get the ball to the receivers and stuff like that. That's when it's been a changing of the guard, and you can start to see results. And like you said, BallGame said, it's going to continue to get better because they're going to continue to tweak little things to help guys get better and better. And the more reps and stuff like that they get, they're going to continue to get better. So I'm definitely on board with everything he's doing.
I mean, since we did our preseason predictions, I've had us winning this game. Now that we beat the Ravens, I got us winning this game even harder. I'll give my score prediction on Friday on my preview show on Inside the NFL. Who do you guys got winning this game?
I got the Dolphins winning. I mean, I don't know if it's my heart or whatever, but it's going to be hard. From what I saw in Baltimore and what this team is capable of becoming to show that this early in the season, I think no matter who we play, as long as we go out and execute, we got an opportunity to win. So I think in the preseason thing, I think I had us losing, but I'm switching that. I'm going Dolphins 35-31 on Sunday. So, yeah.
Another high-scoring affair.
I think it could be.
Yeah, I'm going to go 42-28 us. I had us 3-1. I had us 3-1 through the first. I mean, it's gonna be a shootout. I think. I mean,
it's gonna be a shootout. Yeah.
It's hard not to give the Bills props for what they do, right? In terms of how they go about attacking teams. You know what I mean? It's masterful in what they do. But I just believe that it's time for a changing of the guards. These guys don't stand up now whenever they're gonna ever do it. And the fact that they went out and did it against Lamar, who has been haunting us, good Lord, it's time to go ahead and get that monkey off our back with Josh Allen too. So I can't root against them, and my heart won't let me, and my mind and what I saw with my eyes on Sunday tells me that they're ready for this challenge, man. So
Man, I'm telling you, one thing you got to do and fix from last Sunday, if we win the coin toss, do not defer. Get ahead of this team. Let your defense, that defense is built to work from ahead, and now we've got a complementary offense. I'm telling you, if we run this is the game we want that running game to click. This running game and Mozart leading that backfield. Yes, sir. The effort on every play, bro. On every play, the effort you get from him is what. At one point in the game, he averaged like 5.1 yards per carry. Like Mozart was putting it down.
Yeah, I meant to shout that out, man. Like he made good on every touch they gave him.
He's got to. If he stays healthy, man.
Stays healthy.
He's gonna put up yards, man. All right, your guys' final thoughts.
I'll go. My final thoughts is if you wasn't a believer, you got time to jump on board. I mean, just being honest, you know, at halftime, I was a little concerned, but when they came out the second half and they started, I said, man, we got a chance to win this game. And then, you know, like even when Lamar broke the line, it was a couple plays that we would kind of get in the rhythm and then they would break. But they never. They just kept going. It was almost like a pit bull. They just kept attacking. Mm-hmm. And man, I love to see that in a team, especially on the road. And there's a couple of plays made, and then it just got quiet in the whole city of Baltimore. I mean, they shut it down, and then we went ahead with that last touchdown. That was a big play. I was just like, man, if y'all ain't paying attention to the Dolphins, y'all better pay attention. And if we beat Buffalo, they'll find a way to spin it to whatever, whether they blame it on injury. I don't care what they do, but the media can fool some of the fan base or some of the NFL fans or whatever, but it's going to put NFL teams on notice to say, hey, they're a lot better. What you're seeing on tape is real. So when you play the Dolphins, you better be ready to go, this and that. You know, he's got them going in the right direction. Their confidence is there, this and that. So we're gonna give y'all a chance. If you ain't been on the bandwagon, come on back home with us and let's ride. And we should be, as a fan base anyway, wishing what's best for the team anyway. So if you're on the opposite side, it's time to jump up here with everybody else. Yeah,
you better man than me, Richmond, because I'll tell them that we pick y'all ass up on the next ride. You know what I'm saying? You can catch the small boat. You know what I'm saying? The big boat, we leaving about this piece because we had the chance to get on board and y'all want to stand on the docks procrastinating. Well, we pulling off now. You can wait around. We'll come back for your ass later. It is what it is. That's how I feel about that, because you didn't believe and you had everything to say negative, and now at this point with things finally looking like they were going and headed in the right direction, now all of a sudden now you want to come back and be like, oh yeah, okay, nah, we good. Yeah. Hang out over there for a bit more.
Yeah.
For me, man, I think the biggest thing is that I'm watching this team finally believe in themselves. And I think across the board, you can have all three things can be true at the same time in regards to football. You can have a good special teams, you can have a great defense, and you can have a subpar offense, and you can win games. But when you go through and you slice it all down and you say, you know what, let's start from here and see where we are, and you build each piece. Well, you already had one piece built with the defense, and now you go and you add overwhelming quality to your offense that matches the athleticism you have on your defense, and then you bring in quality players to show up your special teams, because I don't believe they'll have another blunder like they did on Sunday for the rest of the year. That makes you, just off that alone, a team that people should be looking out for. And then when you go out with a sense of understanding about who you are and who they think you are, and you got to change the narrative for yourself, you only have one choice. Swing until your freaking arms get tired, and you punch everything in front of you, and you bust through it no matter what. But you do it together, and that's the notion I believe. Well, that's the mindset that I believe McDaniels has them all on right now. No one's gonna give you anything. Everything we get, we got to go take it, and we have everything. We have everything we need right here in house, and with Tyreek running around, pounding on his chest, telling them nobody in the league can stop me. And Waddle believing now that he can be the other version of that unguardable wide receiver. And then you got Cedric, and hope he gets back sooner than later. You know what I'm saying? Eating up the middle of the offense. And Mike Gesicki looked like he actually trying to do something Did you see him actually trying to block?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. When you get guys to start believing in their full potential, man, the sky is limitless for you, and that's all we've ever wanted. And I think Mike coming in and just letting these guys know, listen, man, there's still a game that y'all been playing all y'all life and you love. Let's get back to having some fun out here. Winning is fun. Losing is never fun. So let's win more than we lose. But let's lean on each other and let's be a team about it. And that's what I see forming in front of us. So my 6-week thing might be off a little bit, but I'm gonna stick with 6 weeks of them because I think that gives them fully the amount of time they need to really be able to look at each other and say, bro, I got you no matter what. I see what that's. We saw it on tape. We know what's coming. You know what I mean? And they can talk to each other without talking to each other. Sunday was a first start of that with that pass pro. Now they get this run game clicking, man. Stand by to stand by.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the run game can overpower their run defense just based off scheme alone if they execute properly and with the talent we have.
They're overly aggressive up front.
Yeah, and their best interior guy is Jordan Phillips against the run. Now, Von Miller and Matt Milano, they do their damn thing against the run too, and they're going to be healthy. So, man, as long as the offensive line shows up, we are going to be good. And do you guys know that we have won 7 straight home games? So we have the potential to win 8 in a row this weekend. And also, we have not beat Buffalo since December 2nd, 2018. And a win would give us our first 3-0 start since 2018 and 15th time in franchise history that the team would have started 3-0. So, man, a lot to look forward to this weekend. Guys, we'll see you back here next week at the finish line. Until next time, everyone, stay happy, stay healthy, stay safe, stay blessed. We'll see y'all on the next one. Fins up.